Hi, this is Professor Sleeter, obviously. Hello. I wanted to make a quick video just showing you what this assignment is about. So if you go to your assignments tab, you're going to see, well, you won't see everything yet, but we have our definition essay coming up. And the way I have set it up is that it's divided into different assignments. So we're going to start with the thesis statement, which is open right now. Then later on, we're going to practice doing a practice works cited page. Then you're going to give me a body paragraph. Then you're going to give me an intro paragraph. And then you're going to give me a rough draft, which means that you're going to peer edit this draft. Then you're going to send me a final rough draft, which is what I'm going to look at and I'm going to give you feedback on. And then after I give you feedback on that final rough draft, you're going to submit your final definition essay. So what is this essay about? Well, this first essay is, I don't know if you remember from high school, it's an informative slash explanatory essay. But it's a little bit different because you're defining something. And I'm asking you to define, right here I put it, an abstract concept. What does that mean? That means that it's something that can be defined in multiple ways, in different ways, depending upon a Kona perspective. So I give you different examples here, but I'll just tell you some that are not in the actual assignment that I wrote. So the easiest one to think about is hell. Hell is an abstract concept. It means different things to different people, depending upon the most obvious Kona perspective is religion. So if you're a Christian, hell is something specific. If you're a Muslim, hell is something different specifically. If you're a Buddhist, hell is something specifically, and all three are different. So your first assignment is going to be one sentence, which is why I went ahead and opened it so you can start thinking about it. So it's not a lot to do, but it's a lot to think about because even though you're only turning in one sentence, you are going to be researching this abstract concept for the next 2 to 3 weeks while you're doing research, etc. Okay, so let's say you pick music. You can go a little further into the definition of music by going into a genre of music. So you could say, for example, I had a student do salsa, which is a form of Hispanic Latino music. So this person went salsa as the abstract concept that they were defining, and the Kona perspective they used was geographic location. So salsa was defined differently depending upon where a person was. A person in Puerto Rico defined salsa differently than a person from Colombia or from Cuba. So they picked three geographic locations. And that's your other thing when you're writing this essay. I want three different parts of the cone. So you're not picking three cones. So music you could also do by eras. Eras is another cone of perspective. So you could say music in the 18th century was different than music in the 19th century, and it was different from music from the 20th century. Or you could do 1800s, 1900s, and then the 21st century because music has changed in those eras. Or you could do decades. Music was literally different in the 50s than it was in the 70s, and it was in the 80s than it was, 20 years later in the 2000 odds, etc. What's another one? Beauty. People can define beauty differently depending upon the geographic location. I think that was one of my examples that I gave in this assignment. Um, People have also thought about family. They've also thought about intelligence, strength. What does strength mean? It could be mental strength, emotional strength, physical strength. Um, let's see, what's another good one? Um, I had another student that this is another good example. Um, what was it? It was beauty, but it was defined depending upon a person's hair. And this was specifically for the African American community. And apparently there was a lot of research in how hair, as in natural hair versus weave versus other things, um, says something different about the person. So, and there was a lot, like this person did an awesome paper. So these are the possibilities with the definition essay. You need to think about something that you're interested in. Like if you really like music, that could be something that you could look into. Um, let's see, what would be another one? Um, we had beauty, we had a God. People have also said the different definition of God. Again, that would be depending upon your religion. Um, if you have a concept that you have come up with and you're not sure if it's a good one, send me an email and I'll give you a quick response back. But I'm making this assignment due, let's see, it's going to be due on the 28th. Um, and I opened it now, so that's next Wednesday. So give it a lot of thought because again, right after this, and I'm gonna open up the how you're going to research. And I'm going to do another video on the HCC libraries, which is how you're going to research your paper. As usual, if you have any questions, email me. We're going to also talk about the use of AI and what's acceptable and what isn't acceptable when you're writing this essay. So more to come. Good luck. Mm.